had a difficult day yesterday, and I wanted to record, but it just didn't seem to happen. Perhaps that's a good place to start. I think in my last recording I was setting intentions of getting to the library, and even though yesterday I was running a little bit late, but I still managed to get myself to the library about midday. It opens about 11, so usually I like to get there soon after it's opened and to get a good kind of choice of desk and seat. But I think with the sort of past effort to try and make it to the library and then my intention for that day sort of carried me through to, even though I was running a little bit late and I was getting close to sort of lunchtime, and I'd done my usual morning intermittent fast, so I decided to go anyway, half thinking that that I wouldn't be there for an awful long time, so even an hour. Sometimes I forget that it's not like the old days where sometimes I'd have the automatic expectation to be there for like a few hours or a good chunk of time. So I went there to try and brainstorm and start the letter, and it quickly became apparent that there wasn't the mental capacity to go through that process. There's lots of elements involved in trying to compose something, trying to dig and understand stuff that's happened in the past, and even without sort of dwelling on individual details and stuff, but just to the letter itself to represent sort of a portrait or a sense of what you want to communicate through there, are just the effort to try and compose my thoughts and figure out what I wanted to write. It was suffocating for my mind. And I spent a good deal of time trying to just write what I was feeling, not to communicate in the letter, but it turned into almost a bit of a journaling session as well, of just trying to communicate trying to communicate my inability to communicate. So, and the more I did it, the more my mind was becoming more painful and more, there was frustration and anger there. And that there's not, I didn't have access to words to try and convey what was going on in my mind. I think the frustrating thing is it's trying to give somebody a clue to what's happening with my mind, conveying that. It's really hard. It's not just hard to do, it just felt it wasn't available, that my mind was in such a, whatever condition it's in at the moment, that it just doesn't have the ability to get a bird's eye view and to kind of give a summary of this. And I think in a lot of the brainstorming, I just wrote, "This is insanity," because that's what I felt like. And what was frustrating is that I think it's a struggle to talk about it now, even because it sort of brings up, I'm trying to sort of partially access what I tried to yesterday. And yeah, just explaining stuff maybe is just difficult for me, especially the sort of the raw material of cognitive function and what's going on in the mechanics of my mind, or what I sense that to be. And it's hard, I guess, because for another human being, they want answers, or they want interaction, and when you don't have that to offer, and things are filled in for you, understandings, or the image of how they see you, I think, oh, that's how that person is. Sometimes that's painful to receive as well, because it's sort of raw material that the mind's got to process and react or respond to, and it's already overwhelmed. So dealing with all of that energy it's like I'm swimming just to stay afloat. All of my energy is going into that, and anything coming from the outside in, or from the inside out, and me trying to convey stuff, any sort of effort of outward or traffic coming in, it's too much. And I could feel the stress in my mind of it trying to look at itself. There's almost a talk to it as well. So it's what I explained in the last episode, last vlog, and many other times. The mind is having trouble, it's unwell, and it's trying to do a function that requires it to be well. The function of looking at itself to get a sense of, and to construct words and communicate, even to myself. So in the end, as well as feeling that I felt my chest getting tight, and maybe there was some discomfort. I'm not sure if it was pain in my chest, but there was sort of discomfort there. And so I stopped. In the end, I just stopped. I think what was trying to get into a bit of nuancy, what was hard was trying to, if I was to give an explanation of why the letter could not be written, it feels like I wouldn't get anywhere near to the details of why I couldn't write it. It would just be like this really generalized, high-level statement that lacks any substance. It feels that's what I'm able to kind of try and communicate. It feels like I'm getting more and more abstract in my communication, especially of thoughts and feelings. So I managed to stop and try to sort of recover from that. So it was, I guess, putting my mind through a lot of stress. the night before yesterday, so day before yesterday, I think when I did do a vlog, I set the intention of watching a movie, which I did. I thought it's nice to acknowledge I watched a movie called Awakenings. It's currently on Netflix, and I even made a small video about it afterwards that I haven't uploaded to the other channel yet. I think it's in the description where I list the other channel of movie reviews, but felt a little bit awkward doing it. I think I'm trying to find the enjoyment in doing it, and doing it without fitting into the box of doing a good review, or just trying to find what I find enjoyment like with this. There's no box in a sense. I'm not trying to fit into a box. There's no expectations. Maybe I'm trying to find that in the movie reviews as well, if possible. It doesn't have to be entertaining or clear even, or anything. Just to be something I feel okay, I can sort of get something out of it. Or it's just a creativity of just the productivity of creating the video, communicating like with this here. It's something's being created. It's not I had a counselling session this morning, and find them a bit more difficult to do, just with my own difficulty in talking, and again difficulty in trying to communicate. It just feels very draining for me. Try and explain. And I'm still not used to, or I don't like the Zoom aspect of it. It seems to be the only option for me, with the distance between the locations. It can't be done in person, so it's just acknowledging or being aware of that it's still really difficult to do it over Zoom. Again, there's lots of crosstalk because there's a little bit of lag, so there's quite a few moments where interruptions can happen on both sides when they try and talk. Just the nature of that. But yeah, I'm finding myself a bit more muddled, or it's a bit more of an effort to try and convey and talk, and it just seems to be the way it's going. But I think it seems like a healthy thing, I think, to still do. I think partly because of social sort of pressures already. People realise, you're suffering with mental health, and is it you're getting counselling, that's good. Or, if I was taking medication, that would be another thing. People think, that's good, you're doing something. And I think my doctor, GP, said that as well, that yes, you're doing counselling, and still on the waiting list for the autism test, and the waiting list for EMDR therapy as well. So yeah, difficult day yesterday. Just I think when I got back, when I got back, I was trying to upload the previous vlog. It was just super slow to upload. So I think yesterday was just spending the whole day trying to get it uploaded on my phone, and it just seemed to be so much slower than usual. So I think just either I don't know why that is. I think maybe YouTube doesn't like it the mobile app, when there's interruptions in the upload, I think if there's like a smooth sort of, when you hit upload and there's a continuous connection or continuous strength of connection where you are, but I think I was moving around and I went to the library and maybe it just got interrupted, and I think that sometimes skews the whole process up. I'm wondering, I don't know how much, because I'm not feeling good today, and I'm wondering how much of that was from yesterday, but I struggled to get to bed at a good time yesterday. I think partly I was just in a difficult energy, so I ended up going to bed at like midnight or maybe past midnight. And I do think it was a terrible sleep, but because of going to bed late, it was a natural consequence of feeling that this morning. So hopefully I can value the time tonight to get to bed and know that it's helping me. Sometimes when I'm feeling low, it's just very hard to do things, to find the benefits or the connect with the logic and reasoning of do this, it will help you. So perhaps I won't, because of this morning's counselling session, I didn't want to make this, wanted to kind of make this not talk too long with this vlog. Perhaps just talk about the rest of the afternoon. So I've downloaded a podcast of, I think there's a person called, I don't know if it's Josh Rubin, but the podcast is about this person who works on the Innocence Project. So and so I've downloaded that on the Spotify app to watch. So I've started to download more things now, on Netflix or Spotify, wherever I can, so there's less interruptions. And I thought also I can, while I upload this, there'll be less, again, bandwidth issues, and I can maybe upload this quicker. So I just popped out to return this package, and that was challenging to do. I purposely didn't take my headphones. I thought I'd give my ears a break, because when I'm listening or watching to something, I've got my headphones to do that. And I thought maybe I'd try to just also just taking the sounds around me without my headphones, wearing them outside. And about 2 minutes into walking, I thought, I could really do with my headphones right now, because I was just struggling. I felt quite anxious walking. I didn't have a lot of reserves to absorb the traffic and the sounds and the people. And I had to go to like a busy road to drop off this baggage. I managed to do it sort of step by step. And my foot's been hurting me for quite a while now, and I was wearing trainers instead of my walking boots, and I'm not sure if it made it a bit less painful, or because naturally the trainers are a lot lighter and they're not sort of going over the ankle. So I'm wondering if that's something I need to wear more often, but I've got an appointment coming up with a podiatrist, so maybe I'll ask them. I'll try and tell them where the pain is and all that, and might be something. But with the anxiety of returning the parcel and walking, it's about a 10-minute walk each way-ish. So I just kind of try to slow myself down and just try to enjoy just the movement of walking and being outside. And I kind of recognised it was maybe good for me just to exercise my foot and ankle. And I did have a partial thought of which I may still do, of maybe going to the park and uploading this there, but I don't really feel like going out right now, so I don't think I will do that, but maybe I can try and get myself. It seems unlikely because I just don't have the feeling it will be good, but for my foot to do a bit of a walk in a park this evening. Maybe I can just do a bit of like slow walking here. There's a small, very small space, but maybe I can do a little bit of walking. That's better than nothing. And do that either way if I decide to go to the park or not. And there is some foot exercises that I've been given a long while ago that I've been really struggling to do, sort of physio appointment exercises for my foot. And as much as I really want to do that, I just don't have it in me to do that. So yeah, so this afternoon I'm going to now just potentially upload this, watch that podcast, and I've got some more movies on Netflix downloaded as well, so I may watch and then figure out dinner. I've got some tacos. I've never really made tacos for myself. I've got some black beans, and so I'm going to see how that goes. A friend of mine made me tacos quite a while ago, maybe a year ago now, where they use the same ingredients, I think, black beans, and so maybe I'll try and do that tonight. Yeah. Because there's lots I want to say, or I'm not sure if there's lots I want to say, but maybe there's lots of things I can feel that I can't communicate to myself, which feels like its own form of insanity, really. It's kind of feels like part of me's cut off from myself, or cut off from the mind in some ways. In the counselling session I mentioned where an extreme example of somebody like in a psych ward screaming, and where the behaviour can seem really intense, and it almost feels I can relate to that, because I just less and less makes sense. It's tricky because there's part of me aware that things are making less sense, but again it's hard to sort of communicate that and sound sane by doing it. It feels like there's this huge gap. There's me, my communications here. There's this vast space, and then there's the other person on the side. And it kind of, everything just gets distilled and scattered by the time it reaches. I guess by the time actually it comes out of my mouth, it's already scattered and distilled. And by the time it reaches the other person, it's even more so. It feels like for them to make sense of it. It's, in a very simple example, it's almost you're trying to communicate left, and then the way it comes out is right. You kind of receive it in that way. If that's a good example. Anyways, yeah, this didn't feel like a very fulfilling. I wonder if I'm just rushing this to, because I've already said I don't want to make this a long vlog, but maybe I shouldn't have said that, or it's made it seem like, you've only got a limited time when really, yeah, maybe just to focus on the afternoon. So got a podcast there as well, Netflix. Maybe it'd be good to listen to some of the audiobook as well, because the podcast is a video podcast and Netflix is video, so maybe to give myself a break, I can, and also it'd be nice to progress a bit more in the audiobook, because I haven't listened to it for a while. It's the same kind of therapist audiobook I mentioned, and possibly I can listen to that while walking around the park. maybe I can get myself to do that, because that would be good if I was, even if it's just for 20 minutes. Sometimes I think in big blocks of time, like going to the library or going to the park, it has to be 2-3 hours, but really just adjust to my health and also the value of just 10 minutes outside. It's getting used to that and adjusting my lens to do those things. So yeah, I'll see how the afternoon goes, and perhaps set that as something I can do to walk around, and yeah, I'll see how that goes.